try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'll never stay.
Hi YouTube, this is Raven. I'm a survivor of a 16-year marriage to someone with either narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. I'm not really sure because the two disorders seem to overlap one another, but he did have a personality disorder. He has not been officially diagnosed by a healthcare provider. This is simply my opinion based on his behavior and the traits of narcissistic and borderline personality disorder. Now, that being said, I came to a realization this past week that narcissists will isolate you. They will isolate you from friends, from family, from anyone that's going to keep you grounded, to help you see what is normal and what is not normal. And their isolation is all about control. The narcissist sees anyone in their lives, children, friends, loved ones, spouses, as property. I mean, you pretty much are property until they're done with you and they discard you and they go and they get, a new person. It's very much like you're an appliance that's broken. But they will isolate you, and that's a major way that they control you. And I was reminded of this last week when someone that I knew from our old Sunday school class, I haven't been to that church in about 10 years, but I was asking her because I found out that she was divorced, but she didn't have custody of her kids. And I thought that was really strange because she was a stay-at-home mom, and she was a very good stay-at-home mom, very loving Christian woman, so there was no reason why she shouldn't have gotten custody of her children. And I asked her what had happened. And, her husband had been a deacon in the church. He was a man of God. He talked the talk. Apparently he didn't walk the walk. But when they went to get divorced, he threatened her that if she tried to get anything other than 50-50 custody, that he would take her children from her and she would never see her children again. That he would use his money and his influence to take her children away. And so it ended up that she didn't get 50-50 custody. She got like 20 to 30% of the time that she gets to see her kids. He got primary custody. And now, he's gone out and he's found some other Christian woman to marry to take care of these kids because he didn't want to take care of, 3 kids. It was all about the money. And he had isolated her. She had not had a career in like 10 years. She was a stay-at-home mom, and he wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom because, he's the Christian man and you're the Christian wife, and therefore you need to stay at home and raise our children. And that's what she did. That's what she felt that she was called to do, that God had called her to do that he was her husband, that God had brought this man into her life. So yes, she was a stay-at-home mom, but it isolated her because she didn't have a career, she didn't have a job. So then when the divorce happened, she didn't have any money to fight for her kids. And he had kept her isolated because that was a way to control her. And my narc had tried the same thing. He wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. And I think had I not had a job when the divorce happened, I might not have gotten my kids. Because, I wouldn't have had any money to hire a lawyer. And I really didn't have any money to hire a lawyer. My parents paid for me to have a lawyer because otherwise, I would have lost everything. And, and that's the way the narc wanted it. But, they will isolate you. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist for any period of time, they become very jealous of your time. If you want to spend time with friends or family, they get very jealous of that. And, it's like, where are you going? When are you going to be back? What time are you going to be back? Oh, do you really want to go out tonight? Because, I was supposed to go do whatever, tonight. But wait a minute, you went out last week. So you end up making excuses. You don't see your friends as much because, you don't have time. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't go out tonight because my husband wants me to do this. Or my husband wants me to do that. Or, I've got to do this. And pretty soon, you may have had, 10 friends that you hung out with, and now it's down to like 1 or 2. And normally the friends that you do end up hanging out with are the ones that the narc approves of. Because anyone who is your friend, who really is truly your friend, if they see what's going on in your relationship, they see how you're being controlled, how you're being manipulated, they're going to say something. They're going to speak up and say, hey, what he did, what he said to you the other night, that wasn't appropriate. And I had a couple friends that did say that. They would say from time to time, I heard how he said that to you the other night. That was kind of rude. Does he always talk to you like that? And what'll happen is you'll find yourself making excuses. You'll make excuses for their bad behavior. He's had a hard time at work, this week, and, he's just really tired, and, he didn't really mean it. You'll make excuses to yourself, and you'll make excuses to your friends, and pretty soon your friends are so uncomfortable about the situation that a lot of times they won't hang out with you anymore, because it makes them uncomfortable. And some of the things that my narc would do is that he did not like me hanging out with my family at any time at all. My parents wanted to be grandparents to our kids, but he made them so uncomfortable, they rarely came to our house. It was a rare occasion that they got to see their grandkids. But in contrast, his parents, they talked about how, oh, we're such great grandparents. We love being grandparents. They never showed up. They would sneak into town where we lived to go visit like her sister or to go visit their daughter, but then never come by to see their grandkids. My son had like 3 birthdays that they missed because, oh my God, we didn't realize he had a birthday. He had another birthday? Yes, he's had 3 of them. He's 3 years old now. He's had 3 birthdays. Back to back, that's how they come, one a year. But, my parents felt that they could not be involved in their grandkids' lives because of the narc. Now, because we've moved down here next to my parents, now my parents have had an opportunity to be grandparents, and they love it, without his interference. But, I would make excuses for his bad behavior. When we would go have Sunday lunch with my mom, the lunch would be over, whatever, and he would complain the whole way down. It's like, oh, God, your mother's cooking. I can't stand your mother's cooking. Oh, and you get tired of hearing that. You don't want to hear it. Every time you say, yeah, Mom wants us to come for lunch, you don't want to hear the, oh, I don't want to go have lunch with them. Oh. And so once lunch was over, everyone's helping clear the table. Narc would exit stage left. I mean, he's gone. He would go sit on my mother's computer and, surf the web or whatever he was doing. And first of all, that was very rude. It's an invasion of privacy to go sit on her computer all afternoon. Who does that? Who goes and sits on somebody else's computer? And then, if he wasn't doing that, he would go sit in the living room and watch TV, when we were trying to visit. And, down here in the South, when you visit, you sit down and you visit. You sit down, you stay a spell, And so then if he really wanted to leave, he would grab the kids, go sit in the car, and honk the horn. He would be sitting in the driveway while I'm trying to talk to my mother, and he's already got the kids, he's got them in that car seats, he's ready to go, and he's sitting behind the wheel honking the horn. I mean, how rude is that? But, other ways that, he isolated me. When I first joined the Army Reserves, I wanted to start going to the gym, to get in shape. And he would not let me join the gym that was near our house because, oh, that place is a meat market. That place is a meat market. I can't have my wife, going there to exercise because all these people, they're just looking to hook up. So I had to go join the YMCA. And the YMCA cost for a family membership was like $80-something a month. And, it took a while, a couple years of him paying $80 a month. And then he was like, oh, no, I don't want to pay this anymore. To where then I could go join the meat market, that was $20 a month. But, it was so bad that he didn't even want me going to the gym. And, I had a mom's group and I could never go out with the mom's group. I got to go out maybe once every 6 months. And, they would ask, why did you not come out, with us when we went out? And it was because I couldn't. The narc didn't want me to go. Either he wanted me to stay at home to watch the kids, or, he had something he wanted to do. we had a huge argument over Mother's Day because I wasn't going to have a free weekend, for 6 months. That was the only free weekend I had. And I wanted to go out with my mom's group to be able to spend time with other women. And he wouldn't let me go. He was like, no, I'm going this weekend to my grandmother's house. My grandmother needs me, And so that led to the huge argument when he got back, where he said he was going to have me declared mentally incompetent. He was going to have me put in a mental hospital, and I'll call the police and tell them you hit me. I mean, it was this huge argument all over the fact that I just wanted him to stay that weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and let me go out with my mom's group. And it's all about isolation, because the narc wants control. They want to control what you think, what you wear, who you associate with. I mean, everything is designed when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, everything's about control. And you will find yourself being isolated. And your friends will notice a change. If you have any friends left, they'll notice a change in your behavior. You may have been this very happy, outgoing person, but by the time you've been in this controlling, manipulative situation, you're depressed. And I was depressed. I was on antidepressants, for a while. For about 1.5 years, I was on antidepressants because I was depressed. But I didn't know why. I didn't realize it was because of the gaslighting, the triangulation, the manipulation, just the control, that everything about my life was being controlled by this control freak. But, you'll find yourself isolated, and the more you try to break out of that isolation, the more you try to become independent, the more the narcissist is going to tighten their grip on you until you get to the discard phase. And once they've decided to discard you, then they'll let you go at that point. But it's still about control, because they may try to pull you back in. It's called hoovering, like the Hoover vacuum cleaner. And fortunately, in my relationship, the narc, he was done with me. And he was very much done with me. He had already had his sights set on the new woman and the new condo and the money from his parents. So he didn't do a lot of hoovering. And in that regard, I was very, very fortunate that I did not get pulled back in, because I think there was a moment that I could have gotten pulled back in because of fear of the unknown. It's like, how am I going to feed my children? How am I going to make a living? What am I going to do? Where are we going to live? And that was all by design. And I saw this play out in my friend's life, that she was married to the very manipulative, controlling Christian male. And I saw that I could have been her. I could have been her without my children. But fortunately, I woke up in time. And if you're in a relationship with a narc, you wake up, see that you're being manipulated, and figure out a way to get out. All right. Well, that's all for now. Be vigilant, be safe, take care.